Okay, so again, good evening and welcome everybody. And now we start our session today, the topic of which is a journey to the age of great vocalists of Kolkata music in Gramophone record. So welcome, Baba, and thank you for spending time to enlighten us today. My first question for you today is that, as I said, that this session will be on the golden age of vocalists in Kolkata. So do you have a representative period for this that you have chosen, and why so?
It was a difficult choice, but for today's session, I deliberately chose 1930s. That's because I consider 1930s to be the sunset period of the great Kolkata tradition of vocal music. I could have chosen the earlier period, say 1902 to 1920, 1902 to 1930, or for that matter, I could have stretched up to 1950s also. But obviously, I dropped bigger names. 1902 to 1925, 26 contained bigger names who were required, like, Gopeshwar Bandyopadhyay, Nikunjo Bihari Datta, Rai Bahadur Suren Majumdar, L.C. Bhora, Laghor Chakraborty, Radhika Prasad Goswami, Gar Jan, Malka Jan, Jadumani, Krishna Bhamini, Setangini. So many names come up. But for today, there'll be 12 vocalists who were primarily dominant in the 1930s decade. And this is a fascinating, tussle between the mass commercialization of our music and the traditional vocalist, how they coped up with that. So that would be one of the themes of today's session.
So as you said, this will concentrate on the 1930s and 12 representative presentations. But will we also listen to different kinds of music today, like Dhrupad, Khyal, Thumris, etc.? So
while choosing these three types of principal types of vocal music, of course, I've chosen 5 from the Thumri, then 4 from the Khyal, and 3 of the Dhrupad, because what was happening is the changing trend which was taking place. Dhrupad was gradually on the way out. It was a sunset period of Dhrupad, total sunset period of Dhrupad. Thumri was still very popular in 1920s. And Dhrupad was also very popular in 1910, 1920. But Khyal was not so popular during the earlier times, mainly because Kolkata intelligentsia, at least the music intelligentsia, did not consider Khyal to be, lyrical enough or, intellectually taxing enough because of the plethora of tans and everything. They considered to be too on it. But the 1930s saw the emergence of Khyal as the most popular vehicle of the vocal classical music of Kolkata.
so how shall we start today? With a traditional form of Dhrupad?
Let us still keep the tradition, because earlier times it always started with a Dhrupad, and let us start with a Dhrupad today evening also. Why not?
So the first composition we will hear today is from Horimoti, Rag Adana, Dhrupad. Wonderful, of course. Uh, what also strikes me here is that, I mean, traditionally, as we know, Drupad, we don't get to hear sargams or tans, although this is not exactly like the tans or sargams we hear in Khyal, but this was a bit surprising to hear. Would you want to comment on this?
Yeah, definitely, because uh, in the textbooks, I'm saying that there is one type of Drupad which was called Nohar Bani, where certain types of tans which was employed here and certain types of sargams were permissible. It could be that this is the only recorded piece of Nohar Bani Drupad remaining, because nobody, I mean, authentically tell us, I mean, what exactly Nohar Bani is, but it's it was clear from the textbooks that yes, certain types of sargams, Jora sargams, Jor sargams, and certain types of tans were also, and particularly the style of this Drupad, where she was jumping octaves and that sort of thing, theoretically points out that it could be Nohar Bani. But unfortunately, her guru Zamiruddin Khan is not alive to answer the question, and nor is she alive. And she learned from Zamiruddin Khan, who was out and out a Drupadi. We know Zamiruddin Khan as a Thungri singer, sometimes as a Khyal singer also. But his father, Masid Khan, who migrated from Ambala, uh, is a late 19th century. And Jamiluddin Khan was born and brought up in Kolkata. He learned Drupad. He was practicing Drupadya. But again, what happened that he saw the where the wind was blowing, and he soon took to Tungri. He became a Shagird of Mawjuddin and also Gaharjan. And he was one of the principal artists who kept alive the tradition of Tungri right up to 1930s. So we could listen to a Tungri of Zamiruddin Khan, for which he was more famous.
Okay, let's listen to a Thumri of Samiruddin Khan then.
अरे सैया एक बेरी जाए जाए सैया एक बेरी जाए जाए हमदी से जदी जा सैया से जदी जा एक बेरी जाए जाए नदे सैया एक बेरी जा जाए हमदी से जलिया सैया नदिए सैया एक बेरी जा जाए हाय दिन नाही चैन दिन नाही चैन दिन नाही चैन नदी दिन नाही चैन रात नहीं नित जाए हाय नित जाए अरे नित जाए दिन नाही चैन चैन दिन नाही चैन रात हाय नहीं नित जाए सपने में हाथ दशा दिखा जाए सपने में दशा दिखा जाए सैया एक बेरी जाए जाए नदी सैया सैया कदे दिया जाए सैया एक बेरी जाए जाए सैया एक सैया
Just wonderful. So now we have listened to first a Dhrupad and then a Thumri, actually. So this is like a shift from a very traditional form to a more contemporary form. So does this also reflect kind of the change of taste that was taking place during that time? Would you say that?
Actually, we are in the middle part of the swing that is taking place, because if we go to the end part of the swing, it will be, of course, Khyal, which was gradually dominating the scenario, the ornate, ostentatious type of Khyal, where speed, the speed, the sargams, and those things were really catching the attention of the public or the imagination of the public. So Khyal was gradually taking charge. And one of the most, I think, popular Khyal artist of 1930s was our Bhishmadev Chattopadhyay. And let us listen to one of his Kamod Khyal. I mean, let us have it now. And we
So Kamod Khyal by Bhishmadev Chattopadhyay.
Matimala, Nija Matimala, Nija Barajogan, Kahuvana, Deta Matimala, Mati. Malania, Bati Mala, Mati Malania, Banajo Bane Bane Ho, Mati Ho, Mati Mala, Herban Kundalaji, Mane Base Karab, Matimala, Matima, Matima, Papa, Pagama, Papa, Amare, Pama, Papa, Gama, Padiri, Papa, Papa, Padiri, Sada, Pagama, Sada, Sada, Pagama, Papa, Mati, Malania, Pare, Giovanni, Pare, Homati, Malai, Madima, Madima.
क्या बात है. It's also interesting, like these appreciations, like what I said just now, were also recorded as a part of this performance. So this is quite unique, I would say. Another thing is that very nice presentation of sargams. Of course, we know that sargams are an integral part of khayal, but was it also like that during this time? Was it common?
Kolkata singers, the senior Kolkata singers never sang sargams because they had a feeling or they felt that sargams always hindered the lyrical beauty of a bandish, and so sargam was definitely a much later trend. Of course, it was popularized all over India by Khan Sahib Abdul Karim Khan, but Vishwadev Chatterjee also incorporated those sargams most probably from Abdul Karim Khan's records, although he was a disciple of Badal Khan. Now, Badal Khan he migrated to Calcutta, we were told, in 1857. That is the time of Sipai mutiny. So he must have lived more than 100 years, because he died in 1930s, late 30s, I suppose. And he was singing at the time when even Bahadur Shah Zafar, was Darbar of Bahadur Shah Zafar. At least he or his uncle, they were singing there. And it was also reported that he was a maternal uncle of Abdul Karim Khan Sahib. So all those, anecdotal things are there. Some are history, some are anecdotes. I'm not sure, but it is true that Badal Khan became a very big brand in 1930. Lot of musicians flocked to learn lot of things. I don't know exactly what, but they did go to him. He was basically a saringi player, I'm told. He had a gramophone record of saringi also. People like Girija Shankar Chakraborty, Amina Sanyal, and of course Vishwadev Chatterjee, they all went to Badal Khan during 1930s, but not before that period, although he was staying in Calcutta from 1857 onwards. So that's about it. This sargams and this new wave of khyal singing was taking roots very firmly in Kolkata.
So now to proceed with, shall we listen to a branded or a more unbranded singer for our next performance?
Yeah, of course. We are talking about Usha Rani, the next artist, is totally unbranded artist. She never could fall back on any brands to get her training. So let us listen to her.
Beautifully sung, Dadra. What also struck me was like this was a very nice but also unusual because it seemed to have it, or it has flavors of kamod and chaya nut in it, perhaps, which is not so commonly seen in Dadra. So very nice to listen to this rare composition.
Yeah, we hardly know anything about her.
Yeah,
So
she's completely lost musician. So
absolutely, and the only thing we know, of course, was that she sang kirtans, beautiful kirtans, and compositions of Nazrul Islam, and of course, Khyal, Ghazal, and Tungris. And her ghazals and tungris were very popular outside Kolkata. As you could see, the record labels were always printed in Urdu, which means that they were very popular. In fact, during my collection of records, I found her records mostly in Delhi, and also some records in Bombay, not so much in Calcutta. So it could be safe to say that she was very popular outside Kolkata during that time.
So, talking about outside Kolkata, so if I understand correctly, there were a lot of musicians from Benares also at that time who had made their second home in Kolkata. So, is that true, or what would you say about it?
No, indeed. Actually, Kolkata became their home. You talk about Shiva Pashupati Mitra, you talk about Gauri Shankar Mitra, then you talk about Parimalka, you talk about Gahar, and Lakshmi Narayan Mishra, Vishwanath Rao, many, and a lot of them adapted the entire culture of the city. They started writing, the serious essays on music in Bengali language. Some of their essays are still available in the old numbers of Shongit Bika and Praveshika, particularly Lakshmi Narayan Mishra, who was such a expert Veena player and a Drupad singer, and also a tapa singer. So he wrote a lot of important articles during that time, but in Bengali. So they really absorbed the culture of Kolkata. But today, I think we should highlight one brilliant singer who is forgotten today. I don't know why, because he was so popular in 1930s. He was popularly known as Ramuji of Gaya, but he's actually Ram Prasad Mishra of Benares, who was a torch bearer of the great Gayaki of Bariram Das ji. And it was so difficult to find a photograph even. Our friend Dr. Amlan Darshutto was kind enough to lend me this picture, which I couldn't find it any of my books. And so we could listen to one of his tungri. He was very good at Khyal also, but today let us listen to his brilliant tungri exposition.
Yeah. Indeed, what a brilliant rendition. Just to deviate a bit, I'm just curious, looking at the label of the record, it's written Rahul Dev Burman. Why is that so?
Yeah, it is indeed it is Rahul Dev Burman's own collection. Maybe his father, where he just scribbled his name, because I got it from an auction house where they were selling off all the Shochindev Burman's collection in one go. So I picked the records which I liked, and this is one of them where the name of Rahul Dev Burman was scribbled. I mean, he must have been very young at that time. Yes, it is a very interesting tidbit, no doubt about it.
Yeah, thanks. Coming back, so after listening to this brilliant rendition, the thing that comes to my mind is that he must have had also many disciples. He must have taught people. So do we know of one such famous disciple?
Not many really, because but Angurbala definitely learned a lot from him. Angurbala, of course, learned from other ustads also, Jipu Ustad and Jamiluddin. But Angurbala, imbibed a lot of his style into her singing. And we could definitely listen to one Angurbala singing Tungri.
Yes, let's do that now. Angurbala Thumri. Wonderful rendition. I would like to move on a bit now and ask you that, as you know, we have 12 representative songs today to listen, and we are halfway through. However, we are talking about the great vocalists of Kolkata today, and we have not yet touched upon the great school of music when we think about vocalists in Kolkata, which is of course the Vishnupur School of Music. So would we have the opportunity today to listen to it and understand it?
Indeed, that's a real sunset period, because 1930s denotes almost total eclipse of what we call the school of Vishnupur. For various reasons, we are choosing five vocalists now in succession, and each rendering or rendition will tell us a story why this eclipse took place. First of all, of course, Vishnupur lit up the skies of Kolkata for more than 100 years. Whether in theory, or every branch of music they touched upon, the courts of Raja Shoyendra Mohan Tagore, or the courts of Vishnupur Maharaja, or the courts of Narajul Bardwan, they were all, the ustads of Vishnupur. Either they are writing serious treatises on music, or playing the Surbahar, inventing a new style of estraj playing, singing Drupad, collecting Drupads, and then of course Tappa, Khyal, everything. So they were tremendous. Everything was there in the school of Vishnupur. Even Pakhwaj playing was also there. But those things were slowly, going out of vogue for various reasons. First, let us listen to one of the stalwarts of Vishnupur, Girija Shankar Chakraborty.
Sorry, I think I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Sorry about that. So we start today renditions of the Vishnupur Gharana musicians by Girija Shankar Chakraborty, Rag Arana. Wonderful, simply wonderful. Moving
About Girija Shankar Chakraborty, I think I should add certain things. This is the story one about this eclipse of Vishnupur. He was groomed by Radhika Prasad Goswami, the great Ustad of Vishnupur, in Dhrupad, serious Dhrupad singing, some traditional khyal and traditional tappa. Thereafter, he became a collector. He was collecting, bandishes from every, every Ustad he fancied upon, be it Inayat Hussain Khan of Sheshwan or Rampur, or Muzaffar Khan of Delhi, Ganpatrao Bhaiya Saab in Tungri. So he was collecting beautiful bandishes of Khyal and Tungri. And his bouquet became very, very large indeed. And those collections became more attractive to his future students rather than the traditional style of Vishnupur Dhrupad and traditional style of Vishnupur Khyat. And he got a lot of, I think, accolades for that. His students included diverse, Panalal Ghosh, flute, A.T. Kanan, then Shukendu Goswami, Naina Devi in Tungri. So there are numerous students. I think he was the most popular teacher during that time. But he was more known for his attractive bouquet, flower basket, which he acquired from all over India, rather than his talim in Vishnupur. So this is story number one. So we move to story number two of the eclipse, which will come to, let us come to Tarapada Chakraborty.
Yes. Tarapada Chakraborty.
Chanchala nar kar kar singar, chanchala nar kar kar singar, chal kiya milana vairana yadya, chanchala nar kar kar singar. Chanchalana Gori Gaji Gamini Chala Mada Madhava Chala Nare Kare 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 Chala Nare Chala Nare Chala Nare Kale Kare Dingare Kare Nare Kare Kare Dingare Chala Nare Kare 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 Nere gare gare nere 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 gare nere gama dam gama gare nere sa nere gama de nere ni dom gama de gama gare gare sa nere gama de gama gare gare sa chanchala nare chanchala nare kare 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 kare.
What a grand Puriya rendition, Rag Puriya. You said this was the story 2 of Eclipse.
Yeah, I did. Actually, there's a notion going around for very long, that Tarapati Chakraborty was a self-taught musician, self-taught vocalist. But that's not correct, because you see, he got very good grooming in Khyal Gaiki from Shatkuri Malakar, who was a fantastic Khyal and Tappa singer. And Shatkuri Malakar was a disciple of the great Jadumani Bai, a Tavaif Jadumani, who imbibed the best of the Betia style of singing from the Guru Prasad Mishra and other great ustads of Benares who were in the courts of Raja Shorendramohan Tagore. And then he went to Girija Shankar Chakraborty, and it was said, I heard it from him and his son also, that he had a very, very sound training in the Dhrupad of the Bishnupur Gharana style, Bishnupur school style, not Gharana. So this Dhrupad, and he was such an excellent Dhrupad singer, and he's, but what happened that he realized that he has to market himself, and he has to go for more marketable things. He changed his style. He was highly influenced by Gyanendra Prasad Goswami also, because he was a very nice tabla player, Tarapada Babu, who used to accompany Gyanendra Prasad Goswami. The initial gramophone records he cut showed a very strong influence of Gyanendra Prasad Goswami, but he veered away from all those. He developed his own style. He imbibed a lot of Hirabai Brodikkar's Ati Bilambit Khyal style, and then he mingled with so many. He was a very good listener. He could absorb a lot of styles in his singing, and he developed his own style. So again, there was hardly any trace of Vishnupur style in his singing in his later years.
I see. Yeah.
So that is our story too, insofar as Tarapadu Chakravarti is concerned.
So the story 3 of today is Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay. So how much do we know about him?
I don't know, because Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay was a musician's musician, and this particular record is one of the proudest in my collection, because it's so difficult to get, because his record never sold. I think 1 or 2 copies sold in his end, and I have one of them, so I'm very proud of that. Now it is he was an out and out Dhrupa singer. He died very young. His father was also a very great Dhrupa singer, Mohin Mukhopadhyay, and both Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay and his father Mohin Mukhopadhyay were disciples of Radhika Prasad Goswami of Vishnupur. His Dhrupa style, there's so many books, so many people have written about Lolit Mohan, his style of singing, his voice, and his Dhrupa singing also became quite popular in spite of that age. He was singing in jury with Gyanendra Prasad Goswami, and both of them, had, I mean, fantastic voices. I think the best 2 male voices ever recorded during that time belong to Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay and Gyanendra Prasad Goswami, whom we are going to play next. And Nazrul Islam almost, forced HMV, his Master Voice Company, to record one of his songs, and specifically composed a Dhrupat only in honor of Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay, so that he could sing, at least record one song. We are grateful to Qazi Nazrul Islam to give us the opportunity to listen to this great master, because of their own, his master voice would never have recorded Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay, who was out and out a Dhrupat purity. He was a lover of purity and a Dhrupat artist. So this is the only record he ever made, and which hardly sold. So that's the changing times.
We are really lucky today to be able to hear it. So this is also
Yeah.
Nisha
Yes. Yes.
which
Yes.
is
Yes.
unusual raga. Yeah, let's listen to it.
মহাবিরাট প্রভু বৃন্দাবন বিলাসী শঙ্খ গদা চক্র পানি মুখে মধুর হাসি সৃষ্টি বিনাশে লীলা বিলাসে সৃষ্টি বিনাশে লীলা
Wonderful. We are indeed lucky to be able to hear this very, very rare recording today. Moving on. So our next musician of Bishnupur School of Music that you already said will be Gyanendra Prasad Goswami. So he is and was, of course, a very popular artist. So this eclipsing period or the sunset period you're talking about, is this also applicable to him?
See, this the concept of sunset is slightly more holistic to Bishnupur, not to individuals. You see, what's happening was that, for example, Lalit Mohan Mukhopadhyay, he died so young. He died at the peak of his singing prowess. He died when he was 45 or 46. And soon it was followed by Gyanendra Prasad Goswami also, who also died at the age of 43. The two best voices of Bishnupur died in quick succession in 1940s. Now, more about this sunset or the eclipsing factor. What happened was the Bishnupur style was slowly going out of vogue for various reasons. I don't know the reason because I still love that style more than many other styles. But Rabindranath Thakur was, always championed the style, wrote so much about the essence of Bishnupur style as a true essence of classical music, where simplicity is very, very important, because the true classical music should be, in essence, simple, which the Bishnupur Ustad always tried, whether they were singing Dhrupad or Khyal, bereft of all those unnecessary ornamentation, and whether they were playing sitar or surbahar, it was all very, very simple, to the heart and to the point. But the age was the age of Baroque, ostentatious, speed and ornament. So, and the age of marketing was taking over, the age of brand, where this Bishnupur Ustads definitely could not cope up with this pressure. Although Gyanendra Prasad Goswami was an exception, he recorded 98 songs, and a lot of them became very, very popular. Out of this 98 songs, about 50 were Hindi, and balance 48 would be Bangla. But Gyanendra Prasad Goswami also became a prisoner to his own popularity. What happened was that he was an out and out a Drupadiya by heart, and he wanted to sing Drupad in concerts, alone or in conjunction with Lalit Mohan Mukhopadhyay. But in most of the concerts, the audiences were shouting for a popular hit song like Shunno E Buke Pakhi Mor, composed by Kazi Nazrul Islam, or some other Bengali semi-classical song which he has recorded and which had become super hit. And in frustration, he gave up singing altogether. He gave up singing. He said that if commerce is the need of hour, I could be a better businessman from most of the recording companies. He started, business in iron and steel during the Second World War's time. He became very rich. Then again, he became frustrated with those business things. He retired and died in isolation at his home place in Bishnupur. So that is, again, the end of story 3, but let us listen to one of his fantastic Sri, which is also a sunset raga, which we have chosen for this occasion.
Okay.
Yogishwar Har Bhola Maheshwar, Yogishwar Har Bhola Maheshwar, Bhasmayang Shire Rang Gangadhar, Bhasmayang Shire Rang Gangadhar, Yogishwar Har Bhola Yogishwar Har Bhola Mahachandanand Bhajagal Mahachandra Jananda Bhajagal Kirane Bhagachal Kantadunda Mal Param Vikari Bhavabayamari Sasana Chari Sasanka Shivhar Sasana Chari Sasanka Shivhar Har Bhola Maheshwar, Yogishwar Har Bhola, Yogishwar Har Bhola. Har Bhola Maheshwar, Yogishwar
Indeed, what a sublime rendition of Rag Sri. Yeah, while it lingers on in our ears, perhaps it's time to move on to the next musician of this genre. So the next in line for us to listen is a real stalwart of Bishnupur School of Music, right? Shotohinkar Bandyopadhyay. So I think it's a great honor for us to be able to listen to him today.
Yeah, but the public didn't think so. In any case, okay. I mean, of course doing something as some serious listening today. Now, coming to the final sunset artist of Bishnupur, Satyakimpa Bandyopadhyay, he is a study in contrast. You know, he's totally different than uh, Gyanendra Prasad Goswami in many respects because he never aspired to become popular. And naturally, what happened, we are seeing that he's forgotten today. During 1920s and 1930s, he was extremely admired musician because he was participating in all the important music conferences all over India. And whether it is the first, Benares Music Conference 1919 presided by Bhat Khande, or the 1925 Lucknow Conference, he was one of the principal musicians to greet Prince of Wales in 1921 in Kolkata, presenting Rag Megh in Nashtarang. I mean, Nashtarang is one of the most difficult and exotic or esoteric instrument. And then in Benares 1919, he was bracketed with Inayat Khan in sitar. He won gold medal in sitar along with Inayat Khan. And then he won a silver medal with Nasiruddin Khan in Dhrupad. So he suffered from some identity crisis also insofar as the listeners are concerned. Just the other day, I was talking to my friend, Mr. Kiran Naiga, who promptly gave me 1942 to 1946 issues of Indian Listener, where I saw him performing sitar on day one, then Dhrupad on day two, then third day he was performing Khyal and so on and so, and sometimes bhajan. So he was, and whatever he did, he was amongst the topmost. When he was singing Khyal, he was one of the best Khyal singers. You know, Gyan Prakash Ghosh in his book wrote about it, that also that he was the most original Khyal singer he has ever heard. Now, insofar as sitar is concerned, he had a lot of admirers, ranging from Nikhil Banerjee, Balaram Pathak, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Gokul Nag, a lot of admirers in sitar. And when he was singing Dhrupad, of course, the number of admirers were less, but still, I've heard Jayakrishna Sanyal and Aminuddin Dagar, speak very highly of, Satyakimpa Bandyopadhyay. But what happened that he was very stubborn and he was very proud of what he acquired and what he thought about the correctness of any music. He thought Dhrupad was the greatest music. He always stuck to Dhrupad. He stuck to his unique style of sitar playing with two mitras in the Binkar fashion. He never changed that. And he never changed his style of khyal singing, which was a very, very, very advanced type of singing. I think we heard that sort of song sometimes from Krishna Shankar Pandit, and with long sweeping knees. And when he was singing Dhrupad, it was a real treat because we could understand that Dhrupad was indeed uh, the father and mother of, Kirtan and Thungri. If we listen to one, because this is an area where I've taken some liberty because this is a live recording I'm playing. Although he was so dominant in 1920s and 1930s, he was fading out gradually from the public attention due to his adherence to, this traditional style. But he was a very contented person. He was never frustrated. I have met him when he was even in 80s, and he was very sure of his knowledge, and he died a very contented man in full prowess in when he was 81 or something. So let us listen to a Dhrupad, and it was totally different type of singing. It's a seamless type of Dhrupad where there is no, wrestling with the pakwaji, and it contains the the ras of Thungri. It contains the ras even of Kirtan, the Sringar ras, which a dhamar should be, famous for. Let us listen to his singing, and Komal Risa Vasavari Dhamar. And
I think we are all spellbound. What many of you are singing. We come to the era of the Vishnupur School of Music with this. As you said, I think a question that, or a point that you raised already in this respect is that due to this commercialization or branding, the music in Vishnupur was gradually lost or was gradually getting lost. So considering this era of 1930s or mid 1930s, would you say that during this time there was a paradigm shift to commercialization of Indian classical music in general?
Indeed, it's a fair assumption on your part. What has happened, because this general public became consumers of art music or classical music, and as a result of which, what happened was that the mechanical reproductions, which are gramophone records, they became the original. Meaning that, for example, if Bhimsen Joshi, now, I mean, let us talk of today, if Bhimsen Joshi is singing, then what is the original is a great hit record he produced, Jo Bhaje Hari Ko Sada. So, he would always be judged with that hit song which he has produced, which they must have heard, in their home, and they would expect that to be reproduced again and again by Bhimsen Joshi. It happened with Onkar Thakur, Main Nahi Makhan Khayo or Vande Mataram. It happened with, Very Ghulam Ali Khan. I have been present because whatever, serious khyal he sang, it was always there, yankering for Aina Balam or Hari Om Tat Sat. So this hit and branded songs became the in thing in 1930s. And it started ever since, it became more and more. As a result of which this Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay would always go into oblivion, or for that matter, Shatyakinkar Bandyopadhyay also, because they were never capable of producing hit branded songs. And whatever, I mean, let us talk that, think that they were incapable of producing hit songs. And those who were capable of producing hit songs in gramophone records, or who were successful gramophone record artists, were considered great artists and not others. So that's about it.
I think this is
in 1930s started this trend, marketing and all this branding and all these things.
I think this is a huge topic of conversation. I mean, we can even dedicate one session to it.
Yeah, definitely we could do. It's a very serious thing. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
So today we are running out of time and we have actually come to the end of our session. So like the usual norm, would you like to sign off with Bhairavi?
Yes, why not? And a Gaharjan composition. A
So,
composition of Gaharjan, but sung by, of course, one and only Indubala.
okay.
Pitakari Krishna Panya Paripurna Namara Namara Pitakari Krishna Panya Paripurna Namara 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 Pitakari Krishna Panya Paripurna Namara Sadari Sudari Nandagari Akanati Surya Dori Sadari Sudari Nandagari Sadari Sudari Nandagari Akanati Surya Dori Lakh Jaganati No Parimanak Nahi Mon Namadu Alak Jaganati No Parimanak Nahi Mon Namadu Namare Pitakari Namara Pitakari Ratna Panya Paripurna Namadu Namara Pitakari Ratna Panya Paripurna Namadu Bahara Pyari Milat Gawai Manas Nahi Bhita Madari Bahara Pyari Milat Gawai Bahara Pyari Milat Gawai Manas Nahi Bhita Madari Lapati Dhapati Daga Rakala Kadati Matani Hori Namado Halapati Dhapati Daga Lapati Dhapati Daga Kadati Matani Hori Namado Namada Pitakari Namada Pitakari Ratna Panya Paripurna Namado Namada Pitakari Kadari Sudari Nandagari Akanati Surya Dori Lakh Jaganati No Parimanak Nahi Mon Namado Namada Pitakari Namada Pitakari Ratna Panya Paripurna Namado Namada Pitakari.
Wonderful. Namaro Pichakari. Thanks a lot for this wonderful opportunity to listen to these like rare gems today, I would say, Baba. With this, we come to an end of this session today, and let's hope there will be many, many more such in the future. But yeah, we are running out a bit on time, but we can still have a few questions. So please, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can write on this chat window. So please, any questions, comments, anything, discussions? And you can raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. Maybe then it's easier to have the ordering. Maybe in the chat there are some questions. Let me try to look at them. There are actually many, so I'm just trying to. So there is a question from Kiran Naigaji. Sorry, I lost the question. How did the record labels go about selecting artists?
It depends, like for example, some of the influential people, creative musicians like Qazi Nazrul Islam, pushed, HMV to record this Lolit Mohan Mukhopadhyay. Then what happened that some of the artists like maybe Gyanendra Prasad Goswami, they were given a break in the first instance because of his fantastic voice. And then it became a hit. And this rolled on. I mean, he got the second record, third record, fourth record done. So recording companies were running after such artists like Gyanendra Prasad Goswami or Narayan Rao Vyas, who had delivered, hit songs. In other cases, the talent scout, there was a talent scouting team, going around, spotting young talents or, people who are forgotten. But again, 1930s is an era where all these, I'm told all political things were also came up because it depended on who is in the good books of whom and that sort of thing. So a lot of great artists were neglected and a lot of not so great artists were recorded. But the earlier period, it was a very fair, talent scout team, and that's why we got much more, plethora of artists in 1905, 19 to 1925, 26, like that.
Okay, I can see amongst many, I just came across this question by Shantanu Maji. There was some discussion, then he says that he would like to know more about the musical learning of the composer Tulsi Lahiri, whose compositions have been recorded by Zamiruddin and Gyan Goshai, among others.
Yes, today we played it, Tulsi Lahiri composition. In fact, Tulsi Lahiri was a central figure of, of popularizing classical and semi-classical Bangla songs. He was a mentor of, Kamala Joria. He was a mentor, a father figure of Kamala Joria. He brought Kamala Joria from wilderness and put her to a very, very strong pedestal of music. He was today's composition, for example, Yogeshwara Hara Bhola Maheshwara, that's also Tulsi Lahiri's composition. And he composed so many songs for Kamala Joria, Khyal, Tungri, Bhajan, also some for Gyan Goswami. He was a parallel, lyricist come composer to Nazrul Islam. Yeah, he was a very, very important figure during 1930s.
There's a question from Siddharth Garur. Do you have recordings of the ancestors of Ustad Imdad Khan? They are said to be Dhrupad vocalists.
Now this, Mr. Siddharth, actually, our recording industry, the first gramophone record was made in 1902. So, and Imdad Khan was one of the first to be recorded in 1904. So it's not possible for the ancestors of Imdad Khan to be recorded. At that time, the machinery was not there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to go through the chat list and see if there are some immediate questions that I could ask, or if I'm missing something, you may please unmute yourself or raise hand and ask, because there are too many in the chat list and I'm reading it for the first time. So it will take me a while to go through it. Labeled as okay. Yeah, I think these are mostly discussions and comments while we were listening to the recordings. So also this chat has a very rich forum of discussion now, which we should save. I mean, this chat will be saved because this recording is being saved. So of course, we can visit it later. If there are no more questions today, I'm sure it's dinner time, so you must be getting hungry. So maybe we can end our session today here. And thanks a lot to everyone for being here. And thanks a lot, Baba, for enriching us and enlightening us with your knowledge. And I will try to put this on YouTube sometime soon, this session, so for others who might be interested to listen to it later. And keep safe, everyone, and keep healthy. And yeah, happy festive seasons, and see you next time. Bye.